How are you? I just pray everyone is having a blessed opening of a thanks and a giving on this Thursday that God has given us the breath of life and given us another day to get what's right, what we did not get right yesterday. And I just want to say thank God for his goodness, his mercy, his favor, his grace, and his kindness. Glory be to his highest. Glory be to his highest name. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We are still in the season of Easter, right? Wow, you just never know what God has in store for you and how God wants to use you for his glory. And I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful to get up each and every day and do what I got to do for to be in the number. Um, what I wanted to share with you this morning when I said in my title, Diddy didn't do it, everybody did it. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is during the month of March, I shared some women from the Bible and some of their roles, the roles they play, the place. I talked about some of their courage, their bravery, their strength. I went over some characters in the Bible celebrating the month of March for Women's Season. Now, one of the stories that brought to your attention is the story about Herodias and her daughter Salome. Okay, Salome, and um, evil choices was the story about people that made evil choices. Um, I don't know if you could remember a lot of what I talked about of the story in the Bible about Herodias. This morning, I'm gonna come from the book of Matthew, chapter 14, um, about Herodias' daughter Salome. About well, you get it from Matthew, the chapter 14. I'm gonna go to Mark 6, and I'm also going to take you to the book of Luke 3:19 to 20. I'm going to take you to Mark 6:14 to 29, but right now I'm going to start you off with the book of Matthew 14 1 through 12. But I'm going to reread the story I got from this book called the Woman of the Bible. Some of the women of the Bible and everything. This book that I have, my sister gave me this book as a gift during Women's Season, and because she knows I love the amazing stories in the Bible, and she knows I got a great love for the Lord. And let me tell you something: nothing in this world will be a surprise to you when you walk with Jesus and you walk through this journey with life, through reading the Bible being your compass. You never surprised about the things that come from men. Okay? None of the things gonna surprise you that come from men. Even when you are married and you joined in a union with someone and y'all have a family together, and how some people be like, how did you survive that marriage with that wicked man? How did you survive that marriage with that wicked woman? How did you raise your family? How was you able to uphold your family? How was you able to um get through it all, through your struggles, through your financial, hardships and everything else, through job loss and being able to bounce from one job to get to another job? How was you able to get there? When you trust in God and you walk with the Lord and you really lean on him for more knowledge and understanding, God can move mountains in your life. And I tell people this: nothing about these people that's going on right now in this season in 2024 with all this exposure. will surprise you. You will not be surprised of some of the things you will find out about, you know, people and their sinful nature. Okay, I'm just going to say that. Even myself. But what's keeping me rooted is and safe is knowing the Lord. I tell people all the time, you cannot live in this world without having a relationship with Jesus, without getting to know Jesus. Like this stuff with Diddy and him being this villain, this man that's going around um committing all these things, crimes and everything, and he's not being brought to justice. And he's not being punished for his crime. While you worried about men trying to take down Diddy, let me tell you something. God got a place in his heart for Diddy, just like he has a place in his heart for me and you. For all, we are all, you know, nothing but filthy, dirty rags. We are all nothing but filthy, dirty rags, okay? None of us are good. And as much as we want to sit up there and judge this man and condemn this man and crucify this man, saying, did he sleeping with these men? Did he beat up on these women? Did he? Do you think what actions Cassie took after she sat down and made a settlement with Diddy, do you think that that was the right thing for her to do after getting her bag to come back for revenge again, to come for him again, even when he settled this deal with Cassidy and wished her all well after he gave her her settlement? Do you think that was the right move to make? Now she wants to be working for the feds. And I said she was probably working with them all along. That's what I said. For her to do something like that, she just showed who she truly was. Because if these things happen to you and this man um, took accountability and you went to um, sue him for the damages he caused to you for what you did, you know what I'm saying? For what I mean, I'm sorry, for the damages he caused to you, and he was willing to pay you whatever price you asked for to settle and your differences, to allow you to move and make yourself free, get away freely. It's over with. We done. Okay. Then you come back with his enemies to come after him. And what she just did is a female of a Judas move. It was a Judas move. Like Judas went and sold Christ out for 30 pieces of silver. And he said, the one I kiss is going to be the one that you're looking for. He went to those people. He went and brought those people to him, told them everything that he needed to get or whatever. Betrayal. Betrayal. Okay, so Cassie got the money that she was going to get from Diddy, and she was working it all along with those people. She was working all along with those with Diddy enemies. So let's move along. And that's why I said I do not rock with her and I rock with Jesus. And that the fact that I rock with Jesus is that I ride with Diddy and I also ride with Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. I haven't been talking too much about Robert Sylvester Kelly because of the simple fact that, you know, he is now, you know, been punished for his crimes. And I think I shared with you yesterday that Robert Sylvester Kelly finally came to his senses when he was on the Gil King show. He did say, and I think people need to go back and watch that. That's if they didn't edit the videos and they didn't remove a lot of stuff from YouTube, because that's how wicked the world is, and that's how evil Satan followers will do things to try to cover up the truth. And that was the message on Easter Sunday when the pastor preached from the word about when they went to the tomb and they seen that Christ wasn't there anymore, and the guards were supposed to sit there and guard all night that the disciples did not come and take the body. But when they realized Christ has risen out the or moved the stone, and he moved the tomb and he got away from them, they couldn't believe how the body was moved. So they had to go back and say, look, he wasn't there. We went there and we don't understand. We guarded it all night. How did he get out of there? We didn't see anybody take him out of there. And you know what they did? They said, well, you know what? We're going to give you some money. And I'm pretty sure they gave them a large, substantiated amount of money to shut them down so that this lie can continue to go on. That he was not the Christ, that he was not risen, and that he was stolen out of the tomb. And the thing is that when Christ came, the first people he came to were the women. And then after he came to the women, he went to, and you're going to find this in the book of Acts. Then that's when he went to his disciples, and then there was doubting Thomas and everything else. So even though they try to cover up the truth with the lie, the truth still revealed itself because the truth lives on today that people believe. Even though they try to cover up the lie, cover up the truth with the truth lives on today. Just like what Cassidy she was always there, planted in around Diddy to have access to Diddy so that, you know, this day will come for Diddy. And make up this thing because she didn't notice she did never go to why these people never go to the police and make a police report. The first place they do is get a lawyer and they come to sue. Notice the pattern of these women. Same thing happened with Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. They did not have any police reports of any violence, that their nose was broken, that they got photos to show that the damages he caused. He broke on every photo you see of Cassie that you see circulating around here on YouTube with Diddy. It looks like no harm has been done to her. I don't see not one photo of this woman showing any signs of abuse. None. Oh, but people smiling at. Let me tell you something. When a woman is being tortured and abused and held against her will and being, doing all of this, let me tell you something. It's going to show up. Somehow or the other, you're going to see that something ain't right. You're going to see that that man is hurting that woman. You're going to see her emotion, you're going to see her physical attributes changing. Like, for instance, like this woman had a Nestbound, who was a storybook writer for children or something like that, and her long term boyfriend or whatever, Joel I always bring up this story. It was a little girl. They adopted a family. They adopted a little girl. They adopted a little boy. He was a very prominent lawyer. He was a lawyer. She was a storybook writer, a book writer, and everything. Hedda Nussbaum and Joel, whatever. The little girl name was Lisa. I can remember her name was Lisa. This happened back in the 80s when they found when this little girl was beat. This little girl died from trauma. Okay, trauma that Joel Osteen, they was sexually abusing the little girl. They were beating her. They was doing all kind of things to her, and it was reported even when she showed up in her schools and everything. People noticed signs of this little girl, but they all they could do was document everything at the schools. And her father Joel wasn't supposed to her adopted father and had her. They were supposed to been they lived somewhere like in Manhattan, somewhere in New York City, in Manhattan, somewhere. And when they found the little girl and everything, by the time they got to the little girl, when she got to the hospital and everything, she, was rushed to the hospital, whatever. She died. Okay, she died. So they did investigate, and when they brought Head and That's found out, you could tell her face all disfigured and her body all disfigured, and the way she looked and her hair and everything. The thing, these people were drug addicts. They were drug addicts, and he was a coke dealer. He was a cokehead, and they both was on it because her to be with him, she was about the same thing. I always say that. So anyway, moral to the story is that when they brought that woman out, that woman was so damaged, so abused. You could just see the abuse of this woman, and she was still in love with this man until this day. She's in denial. Her battery, her injury. So you could see when a woman's truly been in a bad relationship and she's been what they call Stockholm syndrome or whatever it is, and that she's just been treated really, really, you know, badly. And you could tell when a woman was in it from the beginning for a money bag. And in it from the beginning working undercover to take down a man's empire or a man's whatever. You could just tell she was not an abused. That story, she came out here and fed women and real women that's out here who's being triggered by all of this, who have been victims of domestic violence, women who have been beaten, and playing on people's emotions like that, playing this game and trying to hurt and ruin people's lives, and the wicked, evil things that people will do for money. Well, let's get into the story of Herodias and Salama. Now, I told you that this story is about John the Baptist. John the Baptist was beheaded on the factory. Some of y'all probably, I got it on the screen, so y'all probably already read it. But I'm just going to read the story from the book here that I have. But the story of this story was that John the Baptist called out Herod's Herodias' wife. Now it was two brothers, right? One of the brothers was Antipas, and the other brother name was Philip. And the thing about the brothers, like she was initially married to Herod's brother Philip. Herod, which was Philip. Herod actually means at that time the person who's in the rulership. He's like you could say a high official, governor, or he's a king or whatever. So she was first married to one of the brothers, and then she went to the other brother. The brother she was initially married to, which was Philip, he didn't really have any kind of real money. He ain't have a lot of money. Put it that way. He didn't have the kind of money his brother had. His brother had long money. Antipas had all the money. So what she did, of course, her and her first husband, which is Philip, they have a daughter. And the thing is that she gets involved with the uncle. And as this little girl is growing up, the uncle is noticing how, he gets he's busy, he's like sort of like feeling some kind of attraction towards this young girl. And he's a dancer, whatever, whatever. So the mother convinces, well, put it this way, before I jump ahead of the story. The thing is that John the Baptist realized that this is a very, her lifestyle and the things she's doing that around her daughter is not showing, she's not leading a good example in front of her child. And he calls her out for her behavior and her moral conduct or whatever. So she gets mad with John the Baptist, but she wanted to put her hands on him. She wanted to get revenge on him. Now, Herod knew that this was wrong. That's his brother's wife. And no, he shouldn't have been. John the Baptist said what was right. And Herod at that time and everything could have said, well, oh, I could have done this and that to you. But then he realized that's something touched his heart. Like, man, he called you out. You wrong. You know what I'm saying? Why you on this? So he kind of felt like a certain way about John the Baptist. He respected John the Baptist or whatever. But not this wicked queen, Herodias. So what happens is that Oedipus has a party. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. Something that's happening right in front of us. Antipas has this party, birthday party. And he asks his stepdaughter, his niece, stepdaughter, niece, whatever, Salome, to dance for him as a birthday as a gift to him to dance for him. And if she dances for him, she can have whatever she wished for from his kingdom. Right? And her mother, tells her to do it. And she does it. And when she does dance for the man and everything, the mom she asks, now what is your, now that he kept his word, what is that she wished for that he can actually give her for her dancing for him? The mother says to her daughter, we want John the Baptist's head. And of course, this man did not want to do this, but being the fact that he said that he wanted to keep his word and his, you know, honor her whatever he said he was going to give up, what she wished for from his kingdom. So he had to keep his word. So of course, they had to take off John the Baptist's head. So, you know, this is sad because the mother, you know, was manipulative. She was evil. And she used her own daughter. She pimped her own daughter out. Okay? You could just say that. And a lot of parents is doing that. You know, she was a dishonest, and she was just a very wicked queen from the Bible. And she thought, she was manipulative, she was deceitful, seductive, and only to bring devastation and death. And that's just how I feel about the things that these women that's getting involved with these elite, wealthy men, and they preying on these men, like they doing this in a way where they can find favor and play on people's emotions with the fact that, oh, he touched a child, and oh, he did this, when all these people offered up their children into the industry. Usher's mother, if she come with any claim about her son, and Usher just might as well just stay right where he at and continue living his life the way he been living it, on the simple fact that your if anybody he should take it up with, if he do want to get some, say that he has some childhood trauma or things done to him for whatever thing damages it might cause for him in his adult years, and this vicious cycle of stuff that he needs or whatever. It's something he needs to deal with his mother about, okay? Because at that time he wasn't in no place to make any decisions on his own. He was a minor. He was a minor. And his mother should have been able to make the right conscience. Now, if he just went off on his own, that's one thing. And if he did some, what they call again when children separate from their parents, it's a word it's something that they use that when they separate from their parents, um, and their parents don't have any rights over them anymore, and they want to make their own right decisions. That's one thing. Okay, he did not do that. So you can't come back later on after 30 years or more and say, "Oh, this person damaged my life." This person, they've been using this stuff in the net in Hollywood, suing people. In that case, they need to find out about what is his name again? The young man that used to play on Different Strokes, and he's kind of loony toony and crazy to this day. He's not too well up in the head. All of these childhood stars should be able to come back and get these people that damaged them and cause trauma to their life. If you go way, 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 way back. So everybody did it. You know what I'm saying? When I said Diddy didn't do it, everybody did it. Because that's some of the things that has happened throughout history in that industry. Diddy didn't do it, everybody did it. Now we see stuff going on in front of us right now with Steve Harvey and his stepdaughter, adopted daughter, Lori, Lauren, whatever her name is, Lauren, Lori, whatever. I don't really keep up with these people, but something just came up when Samuel L. Jackson was like, "How's Steve out here giving moral advice to people and trying to be the best father of the whatever?" And he got his daughter out there pimped out. He's pimping his stepdaughter out here in the industry, and into this young girl on been passed around to so many celebrity high profile men, whatever. She was with, what was his name, one of the basketball players, and then she moved on, and now she was with so-called that she was with dating. Listen to this now. Dating P. Diddy and his son. I believe it was his son Justin. Was it Justin or was it Christian? One of the two. Okay. That she done been passed around. She was doing both, the father and the son. And she was at these so-called freak offs. Okay. And Steve Harvey was right there with her as, I guess, pimping her. Oh yeah, but it went quiet real quickly. But you know what? Samuel L. Jackson called. Woo! You know what I'm saying? And here he is. You know what I'm saying? Like Steve Harvey. And look, everybody, when all of this was going on, remember all the rumors was going on about Marjorie and Big Boom, right? The Big Boom guy, and Big Boom supposed to be Lori's father, something like that. I don't know. Big Boom, the chef. Marjorie and Big Boom was supposed to have a some kind of an affair. And notice how quiet that got. Okay? Notice how what happened to Big Boom now. Diddy didn't do it. Everybody did it. What happened to Big Boom? Where is Big Boom? And Marjorie was married to a man that was like a sugar daddy. And that man was about moving those weights out on the streets. He was some big time hustler on the streets and he was moving some weights and all this other stuff. But then he got caught up with the feds and he went to jail. And she was supposed to go down too. But you know what? He's just like, no, not this dude. But he was or whatever. But in the meantime or whatever, then she started seeing another one from the other side, one of his, face from the other side of the gang, the gang, whatever that world is. I don't even know how to say it, because I don't really know much about street life, whatever. But I'm just going to say one of his rivalries. She started dating somebody from one of his rivalries who was also somebody big and known in the business of the world of that life of drugs and transactions of drugs and all that other stuff. So she started seeing him and she was seeing supposedly the cousin. And somehow or the other they got caught. They went and did some time, whatever, whatever. And Marjorie, one of them, I think one of them supposedly Lori's father or something like that. And at the time she was seeing the dude or whatever, she was creeping with Steve. That's when she found Steve Harvey. And Steve Harvey was married already too, on his second wife, whatever. And he did that wife wrong. He did quite a few of them wrong. And the children from that marriage wrong as well. Excuse me. But he out here playing this. That's why I say when you read your Bible, none of these characters out here in this world can fool you. God will uncover all they, you know, reveal the real who they are. And you really can't pass judgment on people. But the thing is the truth. You can't keep the truth covered up with the lie. The truth is going to show itself for real, for real. Steve was rocking and hanging with Diddy. And Diddy was right there with his daughter, stepdaughter, or whatever, passing her along. Passed up to Diddy. She was also with a couple of athletes. And she was supposed to be, and then she up there talking about all what she deserved. What do you deserve? You know what I'm saying? She just going from the next highest bidder to the next highest bidder to the next highest bidder to the next highest bidder. Okay, so anyway, y'all, just wanted to bring that to you. And this, we ain't gonna get into the Jesus feed the 5,000, but I just wanted y'all to read, as up on top of my screen, okay, about John the Baptist being beheaded, and gave y'all the scriptures for the day. So I put it on top of my screen so that y'all can read it and go to the book yourselves. Now we're gonna go the book of Mark. And we're going to go to the book of Mark, chapter 6, verse 14. Okay. Excuse me, y'all. Okay, the back of book of Mark, 6, 14 to 29. As you can check right here, King Herod heard about this for Jesus' name and became well known. Some were saying John the Baptist has been raised from the dead, and that is why miraculous powers are at work in him. Others said he is Elijah, and said others claim he is a prophet like one of the prophets of the long ago. But when Herod heard this, he said, John, whom I beheaded, has been raised from the dead. For Herod himself had given orders to have John arrested, and he had him bound and put in prison. He did this because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, whom he had married. For John had been saying to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." So Herodias nursed a gorge against John. Nursed a grudge against John and wanted to kill him. But she was not able to because Herod feared John and protected him because he respect John. He was like, "Yo, leave that. That's a what you call it, man. You can't be going around trying to kill somebody that is a man of of a godly man and a man who's only just out here speaking whatever truth he's speaking, and it is what it is." But knowing him to be righteous and holy man, when Herod heard John, he was greatly puzzled. Yet he liked to listen to him. You see, God was using John at the time to talk to this man heart. You with this wicked woman. This woman out here, she was married to your brother. Now she up here with you. And see how evil her heart was? So you see how God's power was working there? Anyway, finally the opportune time came. On his birthday, Herod gave a banquet for his high officials and military commanders and the leading men of Galilee. When the daughter of Herodias came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his dinner guests. The king said to the girl, "Ask me for anything you want, and I'll give it to you." And he promised her with an oath, "Whatever you ask, I will give you up to half my kingdom." She went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" And the head of John the Baptist, she answered. At once the girl hurried into the king with the request, "I want you to give me right now the head of John the Baptist on a platter." The king was greatly distressed, but because of his oaths and his dinner guests, he did not want to refuse her. So he immediately sent an executioner with orders to bring John's head. The man went beheaded John in the prison and brought back his head on a platter. He presented it to the girl, and she gave it to her mother. On hearing of this, John's disciples came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. So that's the end of that story, that John the Baptist was beheaded because of this evil, disgusting woman. Just like I said, Diddy didn't do it. Diddy didn't do it. Everybody did it. And what I'm saying here is that, what's her name, did something wicked and evil. Cassie, she made some evil choices. She was planted, like I said, in that camp around to have access to Diddy. Maybe she was put in there to work as his escort. She was a sex worker. Probably people that remember people used to send decoys in places all the time to try to take down an organization. They send somebody in there, an informant or somebody. There's an informant planted in every organization, especially when it comes to your business, around your money or whatever. But the thing that Diddy and R. Kelly and all these men should do, just like I believe Drea was planted in the organization around Harvey Sylvester Kelly as his wife or whatever, and how she had to really get his attention, to marry him, to have children with him, and everything else. I believe Aaliyah, they wanted to use Aaliyah as well. They already groomed her. They already was grooming her. They was already doing what they was doing with Aaliyah before she even reached to be with R. Kelly. Okay? Her uncle, her uncle, Barry Hankerson. All of this was already a setup. How they were already making the arrangements to do what they were doing. how they were grooming these young men and young women in that industry. Michael Jackson, they had his father was like they try to say his father was the monster and his father was doing things to the children. His father did this to keep the family divided and to keep the kids against the father, the kids against the whatever, so that they can be able to have control over those boys when they were becoming these young and superstars. How they arrange for which one was the oldest to arrange the marriage to Barry Gordy's daughter or niece or whoever, one of the brothers and all that stuff in the Jackson family, until they were able to bring um Michael out on his own to perform and everything. It's a lot of stuff behind that. The father wasn't. My father wanted to protect and keep his children a family business. His father wanted to just keep everything out of the way. But after a while, the father couldn't fight off all them people when they were coming at with their father. They got into his son's head and got to the daughters and did what they did. And he tried to make it sound like Joe Jackson was the monster back then. So if you look back in history, those of us who've been here on this earth for the time we've been here, that whole industry is pedophilia. They're not gonna bring no 30-year-old girl up in there. If Diddy's 35, they not gonna get him a 30-year-old because her head is already covered. She already got experience. She already gonna have a. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a battle. They want something young, impressionable, something they can easily groom and get into her head and flip them around and do whatever they can, mold and shape they mind. So they're not going to do that with an old dog. They're going to bring something young. And they want them as young as they can possibly get them so that they can have control. And it's not the control that Diddy is doing, it's the control that how that industry operates. It's just the way the industry is. It's just the way it was built up to be. Start them off when they're young and impressionable. You can do whatever they will be willing to put out and do this. They put out to do that. And half of these men, I don't think they're. And put it this way, they're not gay. It's a ritual. It's things you will do for loyalty, to show your loyalty, and just to make sure that this is really what you want. The things you will sacrifice to do to yourself for the love of this business. And if you're not willing to do these things, then this ain't the business for you. And that's just the way it is in the music industry. And that is just the way it is in Hollywood. And with that all being said, everyone, I got to go. I just wanted to come in early and share this with you. So I gave you the scriptures. I put it here on my screen, so nobody has to worry about the fact that I didn't put it out there on the screen as I talk about Diddy didn't do it, but everybody did. Okay. I touched on some things. I might get into it later on. I don't know, whatever the, spirit whatever pours into me this day in the spirit or whatever and how it moves me is how I'm going to flow. So you all have a blessed and wonderful Thursday. Thanksgiving, this day that was given. Peace. Okay.